All right, people. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii, and we got a lot to get into. All right, let me just say hello to everybody. Oh, now Twitter's playing games as well. All right. If you read the title, okay, this is going to be a really important show for people that care about themselves, care about the world, care about religion, care about spiritualism, care about all the things they say they do. It is going to be the first real class I'm doing in a while. And it's going to start today. I don't know how long it's going to go, how many times I'm going to have to do another part to this. All right. I'm outside. I'm got a lot of different things going on. It's crazy today. I didn't know if I was going to get to doing this. But here's the thing. All right. This is going to be about truth behind Christianity, Muslims, Tibetan, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all the religions out there. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Ekankar, Shop Yoga. All right. There's a reason why I'm doing this. And the main reason is to understand why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing, and where do you think you're going to go when you leave here. And if you're not ready for any of that, please don't even waste your time listening. But if you are, send this link to anybody you know that might be interested in what's really going on their inner worlds as well as their outer worlds. All right. This could take, I'm going to try to do as much as I can in an hour or two today, and then I'll figure out when the next part will be, and I'll let you know. But this is going to be complicated for most people because people assume or say they're spiritual, they're religious. Some people say they're an atheist. But I don't have too much to say to them unless they're ready to try to take a step forward. And I say step forward, meaning why live if there's no other place to go? Because it's all you got? Well, some people believe that, and that's a little scary. All right. Jesus said the most spiritual path or religion will always have the least followers. He didn't say that in the Bible because they didn't write it into the Bible. I'll get into that later. But think about that sentence. Considering Christianity has 2.5 billion followers, Muslims have 2.3 billion followers, Buddhism has 530 million, Hinduism has about 1.2 billion. Right there is a big percentage of the planet. Considering there's 2,000 religions, I mentioned Shab Yoga and Ekankar. Basically, I'm going to tell you this straight out. They're the only two religions that I know that actually talk about what happens after you leave your body, God, and all the realms and everything beyond that. The details and everything is different between the two of them, which I might get into later. But most people won't admit what they're following. They'll say, "Oh, I follow a path," but they don't want to even talk about it. They're afraid to defend their own religion, while others are willing to kill for their religion. So where are you in this? All this? What do you believe in? What do you know? What do you care about? What are you interested in knowing, learning? I have to move my screen around to just see if anybody put anything in the chat room. Sorry about that. But all right. For me, I started as a Protestant when I was real little. And by the time I was 14, I was allowed to ask my minister basically 3 questions. I went to 4, but at communion, it was different between the Catholics and the Protestants. The confirmation was different, but for me, I got to speak to the minister and ask him questions. My questions were, what is God? What's God look like? What's in heaven? What do you do when you get there? And He was the first person I asked those questions, and nobody else along the way can answer that. So in every religion, I studied about 14 religions directly, looked into many others. The problem is, not one of them can talk about a real God. Now, writing is what you pull up in books and documents and scripts and all that, were created by a man. And that usually means a man's ego. And men are filled with ego. So 90% of everything you know in history is twisted, abused, and translated into something different. Including in the UFO world now, they talk about the Anunnaki and how they created the human race. And a big percentage of the UFO world believe that. So, how far can you go with people that are stuck in a program that are being taught by people in the program? Zachariah Sitchin wrote a book, and he came up with this theory saying he translated what they wrote. Well, what people write have nothing to do with the truth. Seriously, you can go back to Moses' son, go back beyond that. What they wrote, the Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Aztecs, their history, their truth is all lies. They never knew, all right, the truth about reincarnation. Their hieroglyphics, their graphics and stuff do not explain it, do not show it in any right way. What they did to bodies was completely wrong. All right, but they were being programmed, and it happened a long, long time ago. There were many races here. What race was the original root race? I can't tell you that. All I know when I came here was around Atlantis, and there were 9 races here in Atlantis. 5 actually left this dimension into the next realm, but the 4 that stayed, black, yellow, red, and white, stayed, had to. And then they were being programmed by races. There were about 9 races, but 3 were controlling ones. I know you don't want to hear all this. Religion doesn't want to talk about it. But even the Pope, before he died, the other Pope, said that they're going to teach aliens Christianity, which is a far-fetched idea. But in the interim, when we go back into all these religions, what were their teachings? What were they telling everybody? Compassion's a great word, which was Confucius all the way up to Socrates and people like that. The words that they used. Women were always slaves during all of your known history. I'm not talking about a queen or people like that, but the people in general were slaves. Women were slaves to their husband. The Muslims get into real hardcore abuse of their women. Christianity, the Catholics, well, they're a little separate, where the Hasidic Jewish people are really mean to their women. So, and they hide from it. They hide the truth. Nobody wants to talk about what they really do, what happens. The idea of being a virgin and who finds out if they're a virgin and things like that. Allowed to beat your women, and all these things exist today. Okay, they abuse women to the max. They beat their women, all right? And never mind what happens to children among that. I mean, but we got these people saying they're spiritual. What does spiritual mean? Or what does the word religious mean? Well, to most people, religion means, I go to church on Sunday. Wow. Does that mean anything? Yeah, I'm religious. What do you do all week? Well, Catholics used to go to confession on a Friday to confess their sins. Even that's not in the Bible. Read Revelations. Everybody, I'm going to go around backwards and forward. But read Revelations. It was written by John. John explains what sins cannot be forgiven. Read it. Every Christian should be forced to read it. Because what they think they can go to confession and ask for forgiveness for, and what people think they can get away with, and all these things that people believe in. Well, that has nothing to do at all with the truth. All right. Now, let's start with your belief. I'm going to go over the things you need to think about. You believe in your own religion. Why? Now, these are questions you're going to have to answer for yourself. Why do you believe in your religion? We'll get into these a little deeper. There are 2,000 religions, and only 2 I know teach about a real God. So what one are you in? One that doesn't teach about a God. I mean, the people that are in Ekankar and Shab Yoga, it's a limited number, but they're limited in their teachings as well, because you got a man who preaches, he doesn't say it anymore, but he used to say he is God here. All right. They had multiple masses in the time I was in it, and times from then to now. All right. But any path that says they have a God, really, or a teacher. What is a teacher of religion? A person teaching you a programmed idea. And if he's not, he's creating it as he goes along. So either way, you're getting false information. All right. Now, there'll be a story. I mean, if you read a story in any document, any writing, any scripture, or any tablet, it's a great story. It sounds great, but how real is it? And you have people that are against the truth, and they'll always try to contradict it, and say, well, it couldn't happen, it didn't happen, or there's other reasons, and like even the Shab of Turan. Now that is the only piece of solid evidence that they can't prove is fake in any way, but they can't prove it was Jesus either. So it's there, but it's not what they need totally to prove anything. There's only a few people on this planet that'll be able to talk like I'm going to today. Why? I spent my whole life dying, reincarnating, out of my body, meeting with entities, creatures, beings, deities, angels, you name it. I've been there, I've done it. I'm not bragging, just telling you, it's all possible. Everybody can make it there or not. But there's a starting point. And the first starting point is you have to decide you don't want to create karma. And some people don't even believe in that. Cause and effect. What you create is your responsibility. But in Buddhism, they don't believe in right and wrong. Really. Everything's going to be beneficial. No, it's not. If I blew up the planet, nobody had to worry about anything else, would they? It's contradictory in all religions that are out there mainstream. All right. I'm going to tell you, everything that I'm going to tell you is from direct experience I had. Dying, reincarnation, and all those things as well, out of body. We call it soul travel, not astral projection. Astral means you're in your astral body, which is separate from your soul body. So we'll get into these things, but religions don't get into any of it. Now, Buddhism do not talk about God or deal with a God. The New Age world deal with the universe, the sun, and universal energy. But they use a word that they should not even go near, Christ consciousness. If you don't know Christ, how could you use his consciousness? And how would you know what it was, how real it is? You don't. All right. You need experience in whatever you're trying to find before you can actually believe it. Faith is a great word. How real is it? Faith is, well, most people accept faith as reality. Well, I have faith in God. I have faith in Jesus. I have faith in Buddha. I have faith in anything. But where does it really get you? All right. So the experience part is the most deepest part you're going to have to listen to and learn if you're really interested in moving on. I mean, from this realm to a higher realm. Reincarnation means coming back here. Just so you know. All right. How much money do you got to give to your church, your temple, wherever you go, your teacher, your master? Right? You're going to pay for his life, his home, his car, his whatever he does. Why? He's sucking your money for what reason? Because he thinks he's teaching you something that he thinks is right. Now, experience is being next to an alien, next to a deity, next to an angel, and it's not one time. One experience in this reality right now, many people can write a book and write 2 books or 3 books from it. And it's basically the same story stretched out. An experience is a short-lived thing. It'll happen in probably a couple seconds. You go into the higher world. You don't stay there. Time's different anyway. I mean, you can go to that mental plane, soul plane for a few seconds, and it can be almost like a week's time of learning that you went to and did and everything else along the way. All right. How long are you on your path that you're on right now? How many did you change from? You want Christianity, Catholic, Protestant, Jehovah's Witness, Hare Krishna, all those other paths. How many did you follow? Do you know anything about them? Is it worth your time to even find out? No, I believe in Jesus, or I believe in God. But what do you really know about that? Can you prove anything you're saying to yourself? Can you pray? Pray to who? God, Jesus? For what? To change the world? Change reality? Is it changing for the better anywhere on this planet? It is not. If you live it in fantasy, it's not. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. All those horrible words, murder, killing, rape, sexual abuse, child abuse, exist in great numbers and escalating. Children's cells, all these horrible words are growing. Drugs, heavy duty drugs. It's not shrinking. So why would you assume your praying is helping that? Country is still starving. The percentage of the planet right now, I think, is about 90%. Really poor, homeless, starving. Luckily, they get a meal a day if they even get that. So 6% was the middle class, 4% was the rich people. But the rich people are growing. And they're growing because they're eliminating the middle class. And guess what happens with that? The poor, sick, and everything else will disappear. All right. Rich people don't want poor people living around their house. All right. I mean, if you're a multimillionaire, think about it. And you had a $70,000 car, $4 million house. You want these little people living next door, smoking, doing drugs, and barely push this car around that barely runs. It's sad. We don't respect each other the same ever. Money talks, everything else walks. You heard the phrase. Money is not the path to God. It's not the savior of soul. But you'll learn and understand things as we move along through this workshop, class, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to give you so much information along the way. Hopefully, as long as you can stay, you'll get something. When you leave, obviously it's over. But when I ask you how long you're on your path, 5 years, 10 years, all your life. Okay, if you're on your path all your life, say you're 45, what did you get to prove God exists? Angels exist, that you're going to go somewhere when you die. What proof do you have? A miracle is a word made by man. It could go either way. It could happen naturally, which it usually does. I mean, 10 people get hit by a car. One of them lives. Oh, that was a miracle. It's based on numbers. Basically, everything that happened is based on numbers. And those numbers reflect what's going to happen to reality. Like the lottery. Hundreds and thousands of people play the number. Finally, somebody wins it. But, all those people going along the way, not. So when we're talking about God, Jesus, the universal energy, helping people, all right, who does it really help? You have to understand it doesn't help praying. Praying to what? If you don't know God, why pray to it? Well, if I pray to God, I'll go to heaven. Really? And what are you going to do in heaven? People, if you don't know anything, what good's doing anything? Like I tell people, you don't have a God, why you're here? What do you want to do when you die? Well, I don't know. You don't know anything. And then it makes life pretty useless. But if you know you're going somewhere when you die, it's great. Even if you know you're reincarnated, it's better than knowing that you turn into nothing. Poof, you're gone. Your grain of salt melts, gone. You're gone. You're over. Turn back into dirt into the planet. Sad way to be, sad life to have. But what saves you is sex, drugs, and a sexual partner. All right, somebody that you say you love and they love you. And how long does that usually last for most people? Some families stay together all their life. Are they really happy all their life? Some are, and they are the lucky ones. To stay with somebody you love and they love you back is incredible here on this planet. But there's a lot more to love than that as well, which I want to talk about. But okay, you've been together 40 years and your partner dies. Now what happens? What happens if you die? What happens to your partner? You know, some people can't deal with the loss of something. My little dog sitting right here is everything to me. And if anything happened to him, I have no clue what I would do right now. Even though it's not about me dying and going and everything else, but it's about him. So what happens when you die? You want to know? Do you care? You can find out. And I'm going to tell you, everything I talk about, I experienced death many times. Reincarnation, all my lifetimes. All right, the higher worlds, all those things. If you experience them, you'll understand them a lot better than if you don't. You really won't understand them unless you experience them. Because somebody else's viewpoint of something is really not what you're thinking. If we both had a tomato, a peach, or something, we both ate it, we'd both think different about it. We would probably describe it one way, oh, that's really sweet, oh, that's bitter, or that's this, and the skin's. Everybody has a view of looking at the same thing differently, which is not good. God is not different. Jesus was never different. They stand and they are what they are. They don't change. They don't change for people. They don't change for reality. They don't change for the world or the universe. So, what is heaven really? Bible says you're going to go to heaven. You don't even know what Jesus was teaching about heaven. You know, the only thing in the Bible that's important that I can challenge any Christian about when Jesus said, in my Father's mansion there's many rooms. What kind of rooms? Bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom. You know, people have no idea. But he couldn't use other words. They were farmers, fishermen. How could they understand dimensional and things like that? Interwoven reality and all main other words that do not relate to what they even understood. And they were limited on words in those days. So when we go into what reality are we in, which is the present, planet Earth, the first dimension, when they go, we're in first, second, third, fourth dimension, moving into fifth dimension. No, we're not. It's if you're drawing a picture, first dimension is flat, two dimension is not, three dimension is still flat, but it looks dimensional. So when they combine those words to spiritual, we're in fourth dimension. We'd be crystals floating around and things. No, we're not. You can dream that. You can fantasize that. But it doesn't make it real and really important now. I don't say I'm spiritual. I never did. I say I'm on a spiritual quest for a reason. When you're spiritual, you no longer desire to live in hell. Facts, people. You might not understand that or accept it yet, but you will someday. Spiritual. You're in touch with God. You're in touch with the inner world today and the higher realms and deities and all those other words. Jesus is a teacher. Not here anymore, but he's in the second, third realm right now, and he's a teacher. But when we talk about all these things, most people never get past having a child, playing sports with him, and then dying. What's beyond that? Life, real life, not prison. All right. You're imprisoned by this body. Soul is stuck in it for a reason. Reincarnation exists for a reason. Everything God created has a real reason. Whether you ever find it, understand it, or not is a different story. Jesus had a limited time. People didn't like him, didn't want somebody with real power to be in power. And you start a cult. And so, I hate to go into this. I was a high priest when I was 16. I challenged any high priest I met that was I would call a black priest, black high priest, because black magic means killing, murder, pain, suffering. White magic means healing, purification. So black magicians do one thing, kill. Moses, and you will not accept this either, was the highest black magician to live on this planet as a human. All right. Now, well, he saved people, but he killed people. All right. When he says this or that, this is going to happen or that's going to happen, that's creating death. Oh, God told him to do that. God puts us here for a reason, to learn what we are, not what the world is, not what every other person on this planet is, what you are as a soul, so you can come back to the higher realms. All right. We all come down without any awareness. As a soul, step into a body and start playing from there, going through kindergarten. All right. But as we grow, hopefully we start growing in the right direction. But what happens along the way, it's called stagnant. We become stagnant because, I'm in a relationship and I love sex every night. We watch TV and we have a great meal. Where do you go from there? Let's go on a cruise tomorrow. Where do you go from there? It's about pleasure. And we assume that pleasure is the most important thing. In the physical body, it is, because pain and suffering is not pleasurable. Which, if you're in a bad state, you'll probably have a lot more pleasure. Now, I'm going to throw a word in. I didn't even expect to bring it up, but Satan is an entity. A real one. Not a fictitious. You believe in an angel? You better believe in Satan. Satan controls this realm. Jesus could not take Satan out. I have an ex-friend that said he's going to take, Jesus is going to come down and take Lucifer out. Another impossibility. Lucifer is one of the highest angels. He fell, so did Michael, Gabriel, and all the other ones all fell. Because they all had an ego. And it's supposed to be gone by then. And there's a Council of Nine, which maybe nobody ever heard of, but they control the lower realms. And they decide an earthquake, or planet destruction, and all those kind of things. It's a game to them. It's like everybody plays a game, except God. Jesus wasn't playing a game. Jesus was just trying to bring out the truth. All right? The Galactic Confederation, for a name. Ashtar Command. All these beings are working with a so-called high being. Bashar comes out and says he's channeling a being. So? And that being knows what's going to happen? Nobody knows the real truth. Sure, you get one or two things right, but everybody I ever met has missed on important things that they predicted. So, Jesus never did. Now, here's something that I'm going to tell you, which is hard for most people now that claim to be spiritual. They say they went to ascension. Even, I'm not going to say names, people say they went to ascension. You know what it means? Ascending means when you die, you go from this realm to the astral plane. Ascension means you go to dimensions to where you learn the truth. And that truth is 32 psychic abilities in the lower realm. Jesus went through it. One other person went through it. I'll talk about that later. But when he went through it, he came back with 32 psychic abilities. He didn't even use them all, but he had them. You know, what he wanted to do, he did enough of what he had to do to prove what he was trying to do. Did he have to levitate a mountain? Did he have to do any of those things? No. Did he have to heal people? No. Did he have to do anything? No. But he did. But the problem with that, people did not like power of a spiritual person. And he was spiritual. One of the few spiritual beings that walked this planet. In Atlantis and all was different. But when it came to the Aztecs, the Egyptians, the Mayans, spiritual, they sacrificed people. What they did to bodies, everything was not right. So the word spiritual did not exist, and it truly doesn't exist right now. Right? Nobody's doing spiritual things. Donating money to poor people is what we do here to move a fraction of a space forward. It doesn't change reality, because if you give somebody a heart and things like that, or a lung, and you die and they go out and kill somebody, was it right? See, we don't know the outcome. Now, I'll give you one of the worst examples. Nikola Tesla, invented 200 inventions, 50 of the most deadliest weapons on the planet today. He gave them to the United States government. And guess who created them and then is using them? But he created something that very few people believe, understand, or know, and it's called time travel. Einstein said we could never go backwards and forward. He worked with an alien. Seriously, it's in his notes. But he was wrong. They gave him a lot of false information. He was wrong about a lot of things, especially time travel. But he talked about the size of an object, couldn't be bigger than this, and they found the biggest object just like a year ago. But again, he was fed false information. The information didn't help mankind move forward in a good way. All right, Tesla had an earthquake machine in 1900. It almost leveled the square block in New York City. I'm not going to go into his story right now, but he was not the brain behind his inventions. He didn't go to a college where he learned how to do all these things. He wasn't a genius. He worked with a race that taught him and showed him and helped him create. He actually copyrighted 200 inventions. Einstein's did not. But in the interim, those inventions are destroying the world now, not making it better. Free energy was here when I was 14 years old. They had cars that ran on water when I was young. Those people died, disappeared. There's a person in Zimbabwe that created a car, and it's be on the market hopefully soon, if he doesn't die and the company doesn't get blown up. A car that runs on nothing. Seriously. He's a scientist. Check it out. He wants to sell the car cheaper than any other car. The whole car industry will collapse, including Tesla cars. And in a car, you didn't have to put anything in it. You didn't have to charge it up or do anything. And you could take that energy, same device, and put it in your house and run your house. Guess what? The electric company goes down. All these companies that are multi-billion and trillionaires are going to collapse. So, you think they're going to allow that to happen? Will it really happen? We don't know. If you could just get it out there and people could see it, then it could have a good possibility of changing. But if not, and they kill them, it'll go away like the car that ran on water. And all these other things that happen. Better World Technologies, I knew the guy. He had a generator device made out of like a steel fence, and it took the energy out of the air. And he was on the run. The government arrested him once. He got out, paid $1 million, but he invented a noiseless jackhammer. He invented the dome homes, and then he invented free energy. That didn't last long either. So, you know, and the way the government works, if you create something, you have to be able to supply 40% of the United States with whatever you're producing. Because when I was in Jersey, the gas company, when they were trying to open a new gas company, and they had to be able to supply the rest of the United States with that much gas to become a real company. But it's like the phone company, when they split up and they started entering new phone companies, all the phone companies, including what I work for, had to pay the companies that were starting to get caught up to where they were. It's a crazy system where nobody can be better, and the rich people have to be able to make more money. Bottom line. And Trump's feeding that to the max. And the people are going to suffer soon enough. Whether you really understand that or care about it, don't believe it's going to happen. Well, you know, he just took down Biden's picture, Obama's picture, and put his picture up with his ear being shot. Like, wow, in the White House. He said he will be a dictator. He is a dictator right now, trying to be. If anybody stops him soon enough, maybe we can save the United States, maybe not. But rich people, they don't have to worry. But here's something else, people. I'm throwing this in too. Aliens are real. And there's a war going to happen. We're also going to go to a war with another country soon. There's underground cities all across the United States, and they're there for a reason. Most of them have about 10,000 people living in them already, and they don't have to come out ever. So just realize where we're going. We got FEMA camps all over the United States, and what are they for? Families are inside them. Jesse Ventura exposed that many years ago. So people, when you talk about spiritual, do you understand what spiritual means? And what do you do when you become spiritual or even working on it? Try to tell people the truth. I've been doing it for years. My first book, How to See God, came out 22 years ago. I'm sure I would write it totally different today, but I'm just saying, it was the truth, the highest truth, understanding about soul, you, not the body. And now Buddhism has a separation between that because they say mind. We're not mind. Mind is a program. Every child's programmed to know and understand what they know. Unless soul steps in, which is in their body, which is them, is able to go beyond the mind and show them their past life and things and understand the inner worlds and things like that. It doesn't happen too often. You can reincarnate 100, 200 times and still not experience that. All right. Now, everything today is being pushed on the Constitution. The Constitution was stolen. Most of it was stolen from the native people. And then they were outlawed from the Constitution. Seriously, people. I'm not making that up. And online, Biden, before he left, did a speech on what they did to the native people. Listen to it. I think every white person in the United States or Spanish person should be forced to listen to it. How and why, what they did to the native people as they started creating the Constitution. Why guns were so important and allowed. There's a reason. Well, everybody should be able to defend themselves. That's not the main reason. I'm not going to get into that. It has nothing to do with God. We have everything to do with that. What we do with our laws, what we do with our people. All right. Do you understand there are spiritual laws? Do you follow them? Can you name one? What would be a spiritual law? I'm not talking about the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments were a way to live life without killing each other, with respect to each other. That's all it was. Moses was not even happy with that. He created 63 laws. If you read the Old Testament, read his laws, how pathetic they were. For this black magician against nudity, against a lot of things. So Learn the facts before you talk about what you think you know. All right. Now, here's a couple of questions that I got for you. You don't have proof of God. That's for sure. All right. You could have died. And usually you don't go to God anyway. You go to an angel, go to a world, a realm where deities are. Deities were created so God didn't have to come back into these lower realms ever. All right. The vibration of that would blow it up. To think that you're even close to that is delusional. I was crazy for a period of time. I say I'm crazy going sane. People are sane going crazy. Big difference. What are you protected from? All right. People believe in protection. Jesus is your protection. Well, I had a miracle. What was your miracle? Well, I was in front of a car and it hit me and I just walked away. Okay, then what happened next week? Your husband died, your wife died, your child died. Well, what kind of protection is that? You just want to be protected and not your family, or how long does it last? And what happens 10 years from now? You get hit with AIDS, hepatitis, or a disease and you die? Protection is another fallacy. Jesus did not come here to feed people protection. Now, if you're talking about soul, Jesus doesn't have to protect your soul. Soul can't die. And if I burn your body up, soul steps out of it. So he didn't come down to protect soul. Soul is real, but soul, he wanted to teach you soul is what you are, and that's what goes back to the higher realms of God. All right. How come you're protected from some things? Like I said, a miracle could happen. But was it a miracle? I mean, if a boulder falls off a roof of a giant building, and you're walking along, and it misses you by a foot, oh, that was a miracle. I could have got hit, but you didn't. Miracle would be if the ball hit you on the head and bounced off and nothing happened. That would be a miracle. All right. I was out a couple months ago and I was under a tree and this coconut fell right between my feet on the ground. And it was a really high coconut tree. It could have did damage. Oh, that was me. No, it wasn't. I just stepped in the right place at the right time. So when we go into, I'm sorry, I'm outside, I'm being twisted. I had to do a whole bunch of things like spray my house and get out in my house. What's under there? It's for the UFO world, but are you ready to defend your truth? Period. Whatever that is. Do you even have a truth? Well, I guess not. You probably do not. Well, I believe that it's going to be good. There's no such thing as good. We're in hell. You're dying. Every second you're closer to death, not closer to life. All right. But you're closer to leaving this body. Disease was created for a reason. We create more diseases for worse reasons, medical, money, and all that. But the original diseases were created for a reason. A sick population that needed to be taken out. A tsunami to remove a city that shouldn't have been there. Atlantis was taken out by aliens. I'm going to tell you straight out. But the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, how were they all taken out? Why are these giant pyramids left? Not one person walking around saying, "Oh, well, I survived." And recently they found a whole city where aliens used to live. All kinds of artifacts, thousands and thousands. It's not coming out too soon, but it's real. I'm just telling you, the news that should be told is not being told. All right, how many miracles do you think you're entitled to? Well, I'm a good person. I should get 100 miracles. Maybe 25. Well, maybe one. How many do you think you deserve? What do you do for God? Everybody should ask themselves, what are they doing right now for God? Well, I work at the animal center. I'm helping animals. Is that directly for God? Does God need animals to go to heaven? All these little things that we assume and accept and say, well, it has to be true. All right? There is a space for animals. Animals do reincarnate, and sometimes they do reincarnate into something better. But what about every insect? Why are they here? Why are the roaches the oldest creatures on the planet and still here in mass numbers, mass takeover, and everything else? Because it's hell. Creatures of hell live in hell. Creatures of light do not live in hell. All right. Now, if you read the Bible, if you read Revelations, it says what sins cannot be forgiven. If you're a religious person, all right, read it. Read it 2 or 3 times until you find where John says it and what he's saying. Like the Catholic religion believes in confession. Oh, come back next week and forgive your sins. Come back the week after and just say 20 Hail Marys. Hail Mary? You don't even know what Hail Mary means. Mary gave birth to a child. I'll get into that in a little bit if we can get to it today. I don't know. All right. But there was 2 Marys in the Bible, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary, the mother of Jesus, gave birth to a child, supposedly immaculate conception. Now, you know Jesus had an older brother. All right. He had a couple of brothers, and he had a sister. All right. Was she a virgin? Was it the same mother? I mean, all those things provable. Was one thing provable? Could they prove she was a virgin? I mean, there's a TV show on last year, young girls pregnant, saying they never had sex and they don't know how they got pregnant. Duh, really? Are they all immaculate conceptions? No. There's a word of like sleeping and different things that can happen where you can get drunk and all those other words that go along with it. But immaculate? We want to believe it to make Jesus better. Jesus never said he was better than people. He never said he was God. Never. All right. Now, I'm aware of my past lives, from Atlantis to now. I was a female when Jesus was alive. Mary Magdalene was my closest friend. Don't have to believe it. Probably don't. You won't. My partner doesn't even believe it. But here's the thing. She had to go through ascension. Jesus had to teach her to go through ascension. Why? She had to finish teaching the disciples, including Peter. If Peter never listened to Mary Magdalene, he would have never been able to see Jesus again. He had to give up his ego about women and all that and finally listen to Mary Magdalene. All the other disciples accepted it rather fast. That's why they were able to meet with him. Paul never met Jesus in the physical body, just so you know. Met him in a vision, and people accept that in that time frame. How's that? If you had a vision in that time frame, you'd probably be stoned and try to make people believe it. But at that time frame, Mary Magdalene had all Jesus's abilities. Why? They only proved that she wasn't the sleazy, whatever you want to call her at that time, which was written because the men 100 years later didn't want to give women any kind of credit. Even though the Knights of Templar came out of Mary Magdalene's daughter and her, they built temples for them as well. That's a whole different story, but it's the continuation of Jesus's teachings. But Mary Magdalene had all these abilities, and she had to teach the disciples them, whatever she could. But you can't teach somebody something you don't know. That's something you should really think about. It's really important, considering Mary Magdalene was never anything in a church. All right. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was this high holy, right? Why? Because she gave birth to an immaculate conception of Jesus. Jesus was a boy, grew up as a boy, grew up into a man. But he learned his abilities when he went through ascension. And nobody goes through that. Not here, not now. I was working on it. I'm not going to go into that whole story either, but when you do have 32 psychic abilities. When I was a high priest, I had many psychic abilities. All right. And they were all real. and I had to prove it to myself every day. I became empathic for 2 years, almost 2 years, and that was the worst time of my life, knowing and seeing what everybody's thinking. I proved that to myself once a day. I'd be walking down the street and hear somebody say something in their consciousness and turn around and say something. "What the freak? What are you blah, 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 blah." I said, "Well, you're pretty pathetic," and walk away. But I did it once a day to make sure I wasn't just delusional, making everything up every day. So there's things that happen when you're on a spiritual path. I say I'm on a spiritual path, always in quest of God. I don't say I'm spiritual. As soon as I turn spiritual, my body will be gone. And I'll be a light being, which is the change of soul from this body into its real body. But you got many bodies to go through to get to the soul body anyway. The astral body, the mental body, the etheric body, all those words, first, second, third, fourth levels of your soul before you can get to the soul plane. Most souls will stay there for infinity when they get there. There's a deity that controls that realm. Every realm has deities controlling it, except the astral plane. It has multiple. You heard of Jehovah. You heard of Satnam. You heard of Lucifer. Well, they're there for a reason. You can't have Joe Schmo going across from the astral plane to the mental plane who wants to go up there and destroy it. You have to vibrate at a high level. And there's a key from each one of them to get past them. But until you become aware, you're never going to find that key. And you're never going to be given that key either. So it's a long quest. I'm 72. And I should say I attained the highest awareness I could about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And I was working on it all my life. So, okay, let me just go to one more thing here. I just want to... Religions have great stories of angels fighting and this and that. Yeah, they fought. Now, there's another word, deities. Deities are more powerful than angels. And in the beginning of our world, Hinduism was the first religion on this planet. They work with deities. You heard the name Shiva, Durga, Kali, Anyashri, all those kind of words. Well, they're real deities. God created the most complex system, but the most perfect system. And when he said go out and be perfect, he meant it. I'm talking about Jesus, not God. Because we have the ability to do many things with our body, with our mind, the space we live in. But it comes a time, which he did, realize mankind is not ready. And it may never be there. Satan has this grasp on everything. He has an army, not just one little guy running around. He's got an army of beings that work with people, take them over, possess them, and you name it. But they feed you good things. Now, look at it from Satan's viewpoint. If everybody got better and left the planet, he'd be left alone. Because he's here for infinity, right? So if everybody left, he'd be alone. So what's he want to do? Keep everybody here. How do you keep everybody here? Either they do super bad things or they do incredible good things that they want to come back and do again. So it keeps people here, keeps soul coming back without the desire for God. All right. Now, an entity and a demon are separate. There's good and bad entities. Demons are not. Demons have one mission in their program. Entities have multiple missions and come from different things. Don't realize there's millions of universes out there, different races, different things, and they all die sooner or later. Dimensional beings do not. So an entity can live and live and live in different realms, back and forth from here to there. not to the higher realms. They can't get past the astral plane. So they get the most enjoyment in the physical. Playing with humans, almost all races do. The abilities of a demon, again, is possession, mind control. So with that in power, you have no say in what you really think you're doing or learning. You might think you do. Oh, I'm spiritual. Why? I always make people, I do a couple things. I should have started right away. Well, I'll give you two things. Get a pencil and paper and put a line down the middle. Put God is and God is not on both sides of that paper. You can't just put God is everything. All right, you can't put God is nothing. You got to put what both of them mean to you. And you'll notice one thing. The only thing you put down are the lies on what God is. God is loving, caring, compassionate, protective. All those things God is not. Sorry to tell you. You think if God was that, what you programmed to believe is, would let a little child get chopped up, raped, and any of those other words? Do you, what is, do you really believe that? What's going on, Giz? Giz, give me 1 split second. Sorry about that. Something's going on. My guy's going crazy. He's outside. Somebody's walking around the front of the yard. But talk about what we want out of life, right? We're going to decide whether we want to move forward, stay the same, move backwards. It's easy to go backwards. Very easy. Very easy to stay the same. But, okay, now, what does God look like? Many people say, well, it's a man standing there, it's this, that. No, it's not. That's a program. It's what the mind can perceive. Anything that you vision on should be provable to you at least. Well, I saw a guy standing. Does that mean it was real? And where did it happen? All these things you need to work out in your unfoldment as you try to find the truth. And the truth is not written in the Bible. It's not written in the church or temple or any of those places. If they had it, this world would be incredible if all the truth was out and people could hear it, follow it, and believe in it to the point where they experience it. But most people don't experience incredible things. I'm not talking about dreaming and drugs and things like that, which is secondary to what a lot of people go through now. God is not a being. It's an entity, form, being for definitions. It's humongous, right? It's not like it'd be a whole universe. Never mind, it's a bright light. The vibration coming off of it is so intense, and if your body's not up to it, it would explode. If you weren't ready for it, that's why it can't come into the lower realms. It cannot come into this realm. Jesus could because he was a man. So where do we go okay, to find God? Well, the idea is start looking inside yourself. What are you? You have to find yourself as a soul, and that's called self-realization. Understanding yourself as a soul. Then you can move into God realization. Doesn't mean you become God. It becomes to the point where you know God. Big difference. All right. Uh, Sadly, the Bible has some truth in it, but most of it is not. Dates and time are kind of in sequence. Because if you're writing, I'm going to write about now, not spaceships in the future or cavemen in the past. All right. So it's kind of time frame wise. But when they give credit to somebody or take it away from somebody, it's usually an evil event to give credit to the wrong people. Like Trump thinks he's God, wants to bring religion and God into reality. He can't even say the Lord's Prayer and understand what it means. So, and that's just one prayer. So to understand God, you have to be willing to let go of everything you have, everything you know, and everything you want to know. Because it's not going to be the way you want to know what it is. It's not going to be what you think it is. When mankind gives a person credit, like Tesla, Einstein, for what? Creating tools and toys for mankind to play with. In Atlantis, there was very little of anything. Not super shoes and all that kind of stuff either, but we didn't eat animals. We didn't kill. We couldn't. Everybody was psychic and aware. You couldn't cheat, lie, steal. All right. It was incredible because everybody cared about each other as well. Nothing was mine, nothing was yours. Oh, you want to share this? You want to work with this? It was so different. Yes, fruit and vegetables were around, but we weren't eating animals. All right. There was animals there. They weren't being killed. But a lot of the animals came later. I mean, the aliens brought things here. Everything didn't just pop out of the ground and came on a meteorite, and all the scientific ideas of how life got created and where it came from and blah, blah, blah. We're not the same race. People, you should really understand that. There were 9 races. There are basically 4 races now. We didn't come from the black race. We didn't come from the red race. We didn't come from the green race, purple race, which there are beings that color. We didn't come from the blue race. We didn't come from the crystal race. But they're there as well. But they're not here on our planet no more. Doesn't mean they're not real. But will mankind ever realize, understand that, or learn about it? Aliens are going to be here soon enough to do what they need to do. And also I'll say, it will not be beneficial for us as humans. Oh, see, programming of religion, programming of Jesus, programming of everything makes things come that are going to be good for us. And the world's crashing. The earthquake chart, the tsunami chart, the weather chart, the fire chart are all so high. Every big fire we have changes our weather greatly in 2 years. And what they did to Hawaii, what they did to California, what these fires do, which were created, and nobody even can talk about it. We're in trouble, people. And what's happening to our government, to our religions. The Pope died. He was trying to create a new religion anyway. The new Pope hopefully will have a little more compassion and stuff for real people, children, things like that as well. We'll see with that. But, dreams do not help. You can dream all you want. Well, I'm dreaming. Well, you can move forward. You can work at something. You want to be a skier, you keep practicing. You want to be a boxer, you box. You want to do this, you do that. I'm not saying they're right, but whatever it is, you got to work at it. You don't just put the computer on. How to become a genius? Okay, just breathe this, breathe in and out, say you're a genius, and now you're a genius. I mean, you could believe a lot of things. You know, I'm going to go backwards again. Now, people think Jesus came to heal everybody and all this and that. He didn't. He healed the people that were ready to move forward. All right. If you need a little push, he was there, the one to give it to them. I could have been that person, probably, if I wanted to be. I'm not going to go into all my story, but I don't want to be. This world is pretty far gone. Karma is like pouring over the planet, and you're being pulled into everybody else's karma with it. But you know, when Jesus worked with a person, and when he told the person, go out and sin no more, well, you have to know what sin is. What is sin? Buddhism says there's no right and wrong. A lot of people say there is no right and wrong. It's just better and better and better. I said, yeah, there's good, better, and the best. But do you know which one's which? The three doors. Which door is the right door to open? The middle door, right door, or left door? And you have to pick. And you always pick your decisions. Well, I'm going to go on vacation, and the ship blows up, the plane blows up. It was your decision to do that. If you made the decision not to go on vacation and the plane blew up, you wouldn't have been on it. So it's karma we pay back here and now, and then there's the karma you keep when you die because you didn't pay it off. So in the Bible, it doesn't go into many of those things because they didn't deal with a lot of words. They weren't dealing with karma. Okay. Buddha created it a long time ago, but it wasn't like accepted for the whole world. But karma is above us, around us, wherever we go, whatever we do. How we deal with it is up to us. Making it grow, shrinking it, or stopping it. All right. Let me just go a little bit further here. The twisted sentence in the Bible. Like I said, one person went to ascension. The second person was Mary Magdalene. Outside of that, sorry, nobody has gone through it. You can get 1 or 2 psychic abilities. Alien races have 2 or 3 psychic abilities. Not 32. And they're definitely not compassionate. And they definitely don't have a God. In the astral plane, there's a place called the Akashic Records where all records are kept. And you can learn everything about yourself and your past lives and everything as well if you go there. These things exist. Most paths don't talk about it. If you can't get there, how are you going to teach people to get there? Well, I can't get there, but you should be able to get there. How? I don't know. Really? Meditation's only one step in the right movement to get out of your body. If you're not thinking of anything, blocking everything out, nothing happens. Tell you straight out, if you project a door in front of you, a window, whatever you want to see, a ball of light, and then you either walk towards it or have that ball of light come to you and then go through it. But then you have to know we all have guides or angels around us. And they stay with us most of our lives. So when you go to that ball of light, you got to go through it. Can't stay there. Or you can make it go through, like have it come through you when you go into it, or you go to it. Easy, stop. Hey. So it's up to you how much time you're going to put into life to get out of it. And where do you want to get when you keep moving forward? Hopefully to the truth, to the end, knowing that you're going to die, but knowing where you're going to go, what you're going to do, what's going to happen when you die, those kind of things. Well, good people don't have to worry. I mean, the body will go through pain and suffering for a little while. Some people aren't. so pure we'd have to suffer a real long time. I'm in pain a lot, and I realized, I said, well, I guess I didn't do the best job of getting rid of all the karma, even though I was told that my karma is over. All right. But if I kill somebody tomorrow, I would have karma enough to make me reincarnate many times over, which is obviously something I would not want. But here's the thing, people. Most people do not want to know about a real God. They like a storybook God. Every story has to have a happy ending to make a person happy. Happy, happy, happy. That's all they care about. They don't care about ego, pain, suffering. I don't want it. You know, in weightlifting, they always say no pain, no gain. And if you don't put yourself through the pain, your muscles aren't going to grow. So, you know, it's the same with spiritual growth. My poor little guy's tangled up again. So, we have to realize, are we ready to take the next step? How are we going to start doing it? And when? When it's too late? Your time's running out. You have an average maximum of 125 years. Even if you live it, hold on, you're going to destroy everything. My guy is going crazy. So, come to a point right now where you make a decision. Where do you want to move to? How far you want to grow? Do you want to attain realization? All right, God realization, self-realization. Well, I'm aware, I'm soul, I know. And what? What do you do as a soul? Can you see events before they happen? Do you know? Do you listen to when soul tells you to do something? All those little things. Oh yeah, I get a nudge. Well, that's soul. That's you talking to yourself. It's not God. God doesn't come into this realm. God doesn't need to. God created hell for a reason. Soul's got to grow. And it's not going to be babysat until it takes the next step. We are babies when we come into this world, even the first time, with no awareness. Everything you know now is what you learned over a period of time. But let me just see one more thing here. All right. I'm not going to go much further today. I got through a lot of the ground foundation that I wanted to get through today. Before you can start really working on techniques and things like that. If you want to, if you're ready, meditation's not the answer. Drugs are not the answer. Hallucinating is not the answer. LSD, ayahuasca, and things like that. Cactus seeds, cactus plants, flowers, you name it, you get high. It's relief from temporary from reality. Most of the time. But again, are you ready to take a step forward in truth? Realize you don't know Jesus, you don't know God, you don't even know who you are. Well, with that, I'm going to end today. I hope you got something out of the show today. But appreciate everything or not. I give the ultimate truth out that I can, that I experience, and that I know is true. I'm not feeding you false information. All right, Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Enjoy the day, night, wherever you are. If you give this video to somebody, they might like it, might not, but it might help them open up a little more. And that's what we all need to do. There's a lot more out there in us as well that we need to face, deal with, and learn before we can get away from this reality. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you want. Don't stop until you get it. Till next time. Probably start a new class next week, a class on actual exercises and things, not just plain meditation and this, that, or the other thing. Just simple things that make it easy that I know without getting into complex techniques and all these other things. God realization, and I heard somebody say it, but is as easy or as hard as we make it. Mankind makes everything harder. We don't make things easier.